We will now begin with the session of our next distinguished speaker, Ms. Suma T.S. Ms. Suma T.S. is a research consultant here at CESS, Bangalore, and is a passionate academician holding a master's degree in commerce from Bangalore University, PG alumnus of Mount Carmel College, and has qualified the NET and KCET examination. She has 15 years of teaching experience in the areas of human behavior, work environment, and quantitative analysis. Her areas of research include behavioral studies, work life balance, psycho spiritual pursuits, and organizational studies. Ms. Suma has contributed to Indian knowledge systems research as a mentor for CESS internships projects funded by the IKS Division Ministry of Education. She's also been guiding from the last 4 years on topics like IKS for Commerce and Management curriculum and Indian financial and human resource management from ancient scriptures and indigenous practices. On behalf of CES and ICFI, we welcome her to this session. The topic for her talk today is Yajna Bhava at Work, Transforming Teams for Organizational Success. Uh, I now yield to Suma ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Midapa. It's nice. But yeah, since being part of CESS family, I think I'm audible, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Being part of CESS family, I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is my
Yes.
screen visible? Yeah. Yeah, I would wish to start my session by offering my humble pranams to my mentors at CESS, Dr. M.K. Sridhar, Sudhakar, and Dr. Gaurisha, because of whom I am here today presenting my topic, and entire CESS family and audience of this session. So, this is a common thing which we notice when we work in a team or whenever we hear people talking about uh, meeting deadlines in the project, or generally, majority 99% of the work is done by one person, and another person doesn't have an idea of what is happening, and somebody says, I'll help, but it doesn't.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Somebody doesn't.
Could you
Yeah,
please put your slides on the full screen mode?
it's on full screen mode.
I think we're able to see it in the normal format. It's not in the slideshow mode as yet.
I have put it to slideshow mode.
Okay.
Once again, I'll share. Okay, let me
Sure.
stop sharing
Sure.
and start. Now you can see the full screen.
No, ma'am. It's still in the normal regular mode. But I think it's not a concern, ma'am. You can continue.
No, share the full screen, not the application.
Maybe now you should be able to see, I think. Let me. Now it is fine.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
So this is a general feature which we get to see in organizations, or we get to hear from people. So we are trying to address this issue using ancient Indian wisdom, which is called Yajna Bhava. So contrary to this, there is a quote from Swami Chinmayananda who says that no achievement is impossible for a man if he knows how to act in the discipline of cooperation. So, what we saw in the previous slide, the solution to that is seen in this statement of Chinmayananda, where he says discipline of cooperation is very important when you're working in a team. So, this brings us to our today's topic, Yajna Bhava at Work, transforming teams for organizational success. So, My presentation for the next few minutes will be on understanding what is Yagna Bhava and how it can be translated into workplace, and how we can get the benefits, and what are the examples of, or what are the say real life examples where we can see Yagna Bhava in action. So I'll just go through these in the next few slides. So let us start understanding what is Yagna Bhava. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna starts in the third chapter of Karma Yoga. He says this sentence: "Sahayagna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam yesha vostvishta kamadu." So it is said that Bhagwan Prajapati created human beings, and he said he gave a gift called Yajna, and he said, go take this Yajna and you make it your wish fulfilling cow. So what is this Yajna? If that is so, if Krishna is telling that it will fulfill all your desires, what is this Yajna all about? So, as far as what we know, what we have understood about the term yagna is it's a place where there is some sacrificial fire and an ejaman performing the puja and people around watching the puja, and it's more of a ritualistic exercise. But actually, what it denotes, or what it denoted in ancient time, was Yagnishala was more say a a place where people would come and sacrifice whatever they had. So it was more of like, if you go back to Vedic period, if we want to understand what used to happen in Yagnishalas is, somebody would have resources like food grains. So somebody would take up a sankalp of doing a yagna for the greater good of the society. Ejaman or say king would take up, and he would pray for the well-being of the society, or he would pray for the rains, and he would make a sankalpa. Then some say acharyas would come and help him in doing the yajna, and another set of people would come and offer their grains. And it is seen in various texts that yajnas used to happen for many days. So it was more like a huge project, and where various experts would come together, give their abundant resources, and that is how it used to happen. It was not one person's activity like how we see in contemporary times, where in our if we do a yajna today at our place, we outsource everything to one say acharya, and he would do everything. Unlike of what we practice today, the whole concept of yajna was totally different from what we have understood and what we are seeing today. So basically, when we say Yajna Bhava, it was more of a mindset of selfless contribution, where people would get together and they would offer whatever they had. It can be in the form of an action or a resource for the collective well-being. So with this understanding, we will proceed further that Yajna Bhava is all about selfless contribution. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about the principles of Yajna Bhava, where he says that it is a bhava of performing all actions. So I just want all of you to focus on the highlighted points where he says we should do it to the best, that is samachara, without any attachment, and there should be this paraspara bhava. These three are key important elements of Yagna Bhava, where one has to give their best without getting attached to what they have given. That is, now if we see people, if they donate something, they want their name to be engraved, or they want their name to be put in the pamphlet. They are that is not what is expected in Yagna Bhava. So you give without any attachment, and also you like this. Each one of them, if they contribute, there will be this mutual in isolation. So there should be this mutual interdependence. So what happens if there is this Yagna Bhava? Then it leads to prosperity. What kind of prosperity? That is mutually each other prosper and each other grow. So then why is this done? It is done for the attainment of the highest good, because there is some intention behind performing the yajna or any activity. That is a greater good. That is always attainment of highest good. and enjoy the fruits of action lawfully. Why Krishna says lawfully is, suppose um, if there is if the resources are not shared equally, then the person who is getting the benefit without contributing, he is considered as a thief. Krishna says he is equal to a thief. Suppose if I don't contribute to my work and still get the benefit of the work, then that means I am a thief. So if I want to apply this Yajna principle into a teamwork model, basically you can say one is at the individual level, as I should be efficient in performing my actions. I should give my best, and I should not have any expectation. And at the outer level, I should be able to work in cooperation with the other, in depending, because as I said, it is a process driven activity and my work is dependent on someone else, so it is mutual interdependence should be there, and there should be conscientious sharing of yagna prasada. All this will happen for keeping a greater good or greater objective in mind. Suppose if I want to apply it to the organizational level, so if every individual in the team, if they want to see this yagna bhava, that means that they have to give their best at the individual level. They should not compromise on what they are doing, so they should be able to perform to the best of their ability without any expectation, because duties come without any expectation. You are bound to do. Our actions are, when we are in the framework of duty, it comes unasked. So which means I am supposed to do means I am supposed to do. So doing to the best of my ability without any expectation of rewards, because it is my duty to do. And later on, next part is at the team level. After I perform my duty, I should also ensure that I work in cohesion with the other members of the team, and also make sure that I don't delay my contribution, because of which the others don't suffer. So that mutual interdependence, understand the concept of mutual interdependence, that only if I complete my work, the other person will be able to take it forward, or when the other person is completing his work, I'll be able to take it forward. So in that sense, understand the role of an individual in the team and contribute, and also make sure that each one get the their share of profit. So ultimately, all this happens in the framework where we are doing it for a greater good. In our case, it will be the organizational goal, or the higher purpose should be the organizational goal. What made me get this idea is, when I am associated to Chinmaya Mission, and whenever any activity happens in Chinmaya Mission, right from a smallest event of organizing a Paduka Puja to a big event of organizing a conference or a seminar, this Yagna Bhava is seen in all the volunteers. Everybody comes together with whatever they are good at, and they give their time, and everything is done on a voluntary basis. And it happens so smoothly that even if there is any kind of say if there are some contingencies, people jump in and they don't get disturbed, they don't play politics, and they try to manage situation by thinking that it is for the Lokasangraha Bhava. As long as we have this bigger goal in mind, that we are doing it for the growth of the organization or to achieve the goal of the organization, then there is nothing than that. Lokasangraha Bhava is something which has to be there in our mind constantly, that it is like a shruti, where it keeps ringing in us that we are doing this not for our benefit, we are not doing this for the in greater good is achieved. Naturally, our individual goals are also achieved, but how do we inculcate this bhava is, yeah, you should constantly remember that I am part of a big cosmic uh, structure. I am a very insignificant part of something very big, and whatever I do will add a minute thing, but still me adding that value will give some benefit to the society at large. So having this bhava and inculcating and doing my best. Samachara is everybody will have their own ability. Important one has to understand here. Suppose if I am given out of my ability without compromising, end of the day that I have given my best, then I should also, when I give my best, I'll also feel satisfied, so that I will say, okay, I am happy with what I have done. So I don't expect someone else to approve what I have done, because I know I have done my best. So this leads to helping or understanding what the other person wants. And you can, if you know something which the other person doesn't know, and if you feel your team member is not able to understand you, if you know, you can contribute and you can help them and also make them understand. Further, moving further, if we want to understand this Yajna Bhava principle and compare it with how this is different from the Western concept, what Western research talk about more teamwork, our Lokasangraha Bhava is more at the universal welfare level, whereas pro-social motivation theory emphasizes the desire to help others. Here, the word desire is something which we need to emphasize on, because universal welfare is a broader term, and you will feel more satisfied, and it is a level which gives you more satisfaction than desire, getting something out, which getting something for out of your desire. Say for example, I desire for something and I get, the satisfaction level is to some extent. But when you do something for the welfare of a bigger cause, your satisfaction level will be little higher than getting satisfied with something what you desired for. Then Lokasangraha Bhava, as I said, it is a duty bound practice. It comes without any excuses. You are bound to do it as your duty. And when you are bound to do it as a duty, you don't need any external motivation. It has to be, it will come naturally to you, just like how a mother takes care of a kid, thinking that it is her duty as a mother. She doesn't expect anybody to applaud or give her an appreciation that you did so much. No, she herself feels that it is my duty to take care. Similarly, Lokasangraha Bhava is, when I internalize Lokasangraha Bhava, naturally I tend to work towards certain cause, keeping that it is my duty to do, it is my responsibility to do. So selfless action takes over, and you don't need any external motivation. And whereas in Mukta Sangha, what happens is the drive is from within, and it is beyond you, ego and desire. What is the biggest challenge which we notice is people tend to what obstructs a teamwork is most of the times is this ego which comes in. Why should I do? Why did I have done my part? Why let the other person do? Let the team know my value. This will play a major role. So that is why Bhagavan is highlighting that you should be away from getting attached to what you have done. So that is going beyond ego. Whereas the self-determination theory says you get an autonomy, you talk about your competency, and these become your motivating factor. So that naturally gives scope for you to feel egoistic. Then this Anena Prasavishedvam is all about promoting mutual growth. So here in collective orientation, there is a similar theory, but it reflects on individuals' collaborative attitude based on psychological traits. So what happens is in a mutual growth, I develop. I mean, I am doing whatever best I can do, and also I take along my fellow workers along with me. So more to do it as a collective effort rather than doing it with a competitive attitude. Then Paraspara Bhava is more with, as I said, it is beyond personal gain, whereas in social interdependency theory highlights that the mutual influence is only in achieving the goal. Okay, it is there, each individual will also have their own individual agenda behind, or individual aspirations. That is why it is slightly different from Paraspara Bhava. And conscientious sharing of outcome is natural. That means everybody, whoever has contributed, they get the share of their contribution, their of contribution, get the share of their work. but in organizational justice theory, it comes more as a compliance. Like, you have to make sure that everybody is given their share with kind of, it is judicious, it is not natural. So samachara is, as I said, it is giving your best, giving to the best of one's ability, whereas here it's more to do with sustained job performance through discipline and responsibility. So if we want to understand what is the difference between the teamwork that Yajna Bhava emphasizes more of cooperative tendency rather than competitive bhava. So Krishna again says in Bhagavad Gita itself in the 17th chapter that, when selfless action is done without attachment to personal gain, then it is more of sattvika yajna. Whereas if the focus is on if the person compromises on ethical integrity and tries to perform on actions based on personal goals, then it is more of rajasic, or it can be prioritizing individual over collective, then it becomes tamasic. So where we need to emphasize is we need to emphasize more of cooperative way of doing things rather than competitive way of doing things. This is the major uh, bhava difference which we see when we compare Yajna Bhava with the contemporary teamwork practices. Most of the contemporary practices emphasize competitive bhava. Even right from childhood, with this competitive bhava is instilled rather than encouraging cooperative bhava. So, is it really possible? Is the question people have. Can we get to see real examples of how Yajna Bhava is put in practice? Yes, if we look at Tata Group of Company, they have been working with this Yajna Bhava, though the word Yajna Bhava is not explicitly used. What came from people has gone back to the people many times. That means they believe that they have this five core values. In that, one of the core value is responsibility, and they emphasize the spirit of yajna in that, where they say what comes from people should go back to people, and two-third of their whatever they earn goes into philanthropy. That means they are not hoarding what they have got, they are sharing it and giving it back to the society. In this when Krishna explains Yajna Bhava in Bhagavad Gita, he also talks about the cosmic wheel of action as to how there is mutual interdependence, and there we get to see that it is cyclical. So ours is not linear, and since it is cyclical, it goes back from where it came. It is natural to give it back to the society. And that is why, whenever we want to write anything about any Indian Indic based wisdom, if we want to illustrate Tata Group of companies, they are in the you can give them as an example for any study, because they have put it in practice so much. And many a times we feel that, okay, is there any other company other than Tata's which are doing, and they have any form, any form of Indic wisdom you take, they are there. They have been putting it in practice, and they believe in it, and they have carried it for decades. Another example of Yajna Bhava is the Chandrayaan 3 success. If you look at when we do a detailed study of how Chandrayaan 3 uh, could succeed, and what are the positives of Chandrayaan 3, or what were the learnings of Chandrayaan 2, and what made them achieve this. They call this something called as ISRO culture, which is similar to Yajna Bhava, where there is so much of emphasis, and the director also highlights that we could achieve this because of this ISRO culture, what we have. And there they say that anyone who notices an anomaly, even if the person noticing it is directly responsible, it brings to the notice of the team. That means one individual is responsible. Everybody takes up the initiative so that the project becomes a successful assignment. So keeping this in mind, they executed, and we could see, and they have claimed that it is a teamwork that has played an important role in Chandrayaan 3. And what is the teamwork? This all these bhava, samachara, and paraspara bhava, anena prasavishyadvam, all these can be seen, and also the conscientious sharing of the output of the project. Another major example which we can see of Yajna Bhava is the vaccine Maitri, which during COVID, what India demonstrated to the world. Okay, 2 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine were gifted by India to the UN peacekeepers. So, which means it is a humanitarian initiative undertaken by Indian government. So, which speaks of going beyond, thinking beyond oneself. India also needed, and India also cared for other countries. So, this is very much ingrained in our system and in our practices. Only thing is, we just have to, it has, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita itself in the third chapter, like, certain, sometimes, the dust is covered either like a dust on the glass or like a smoke on the fire. It depends what is the intensity of the dust. So certain qualities are imbibed and very natural to us. It comes very natural to us. Only thing is, we just have to we have to open our eyes to that and try to imbibe all this into our day-to-day practices and become little more sensitive to what we are doing. um, so to summarize, how do we implement, or how do organizations, or how organizations can implement Loka Sangra Baba or Mukta Sangha? All these core principle is a small effort has been made in putting these suggestions, like, the organizations can have promote positive impact of teamwork, and they make them understand that there is this sense everybody is contributing to the team's work and everybody is equally important in the team. And also Mukta Sangha, to emphasize Mukta Sangha, one need to say that you focus on the journey, don't focus on the destination. The famous shloka Karmanye Vadikaraste. So understand the essence of that Karma Yoga Bhava. Don't worry about where you want to go. Do enjoy the journey, so that giving your best, you will naturally reach the destination. And next, promoting growth through peer learning, mentorship, and cross-functional teamwork. Not everybody will be capable of doing all the work effectively. It's only through mutual learning and through mentoring and cross-functional teamwork, that is making the other person understand, explore according to their, like how Anil Joshi said, sir said about Swabhava and Swadharma, making one understand their Swabhava and Swadharma will really add capability. And how to inculcate Paraspara Bhava is leverage individual strengths, again make every individual understand their pluses and minuses and try to make them work according to their Swadharma. And also start rewarding collective successes rather than giving attributing success to one individual. And how do we encourage the principle of Yagna Prasada is promote a culture of transparency, accountability, and fairness. Appreciate teamwork. These principles and trying to may help organizations address the teamwork challenges. That is basically making them move from competitive and attitude to cooperative attitude will definitely make the organizations achieve what they want to achieve when it comes to team success. This is what I had to share. So if there is anything, we can take it up.
Thank you, ma'am. We will wait for a minute for questions to arrive. As of now, there are no questions. If the participants have questions, please drop them in the question and answer box. Okay, I think the questions have started arriving, ma'am. The first question is from Dr. Satvik, who asks, how, dear ma'am, how to lead a team from the Yajna Bhava perspective? How to lead
Yeah,
a
as
team?
I discussed, as we have already discussed, how to lead a team is basically the leader has to understand what kind of people are there in his team and try to understand their strengths and weaknesses. And also, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. Uh, and also may ensure that allocate the work based on their swabhava and swadharma rather than giving every work to everybody. Understand their potential and try to give tasks according to their capabilities. And also suppose that is why we have these two principles, like if an individual doesn't know his swadharma, we have a concept called karma yoga. Again, karma yoga emphasizes that you do your best without expecting any result. So make the person understand his role in the team and try to orient him and how to go about carrying out his activities to the best of his ability. And if he needs any assistance, he can be supported with people who are ready to help him. So all the principles what we have discussed, that anena prasavishyadvam, all these should be time and again re-emphasized by the leader to make the team members understand their role in the team.
Another question we have is how to use Yajna Bhava to manage stress in daily life? Or could it be used to manage
Manage,
stress?
yeah. Um, what yeah, basically when we should understand what causes stress. Once we are able to understand what causes stress, the cause of stress can be that maybe you are piled up with lot of work. Prioritize your tasks and try to, and suppose if it is not the number of work what you have which is causing stress, maybe the very work itself is causing stress in you. So one need to understand what is causing stress. So addressing the cause of the stress is more important, and then addressing the issue becomes easier. So many a times what happens is people will not be there in their swadharma and they will be working naturally when they are not in their swadharma. No, their work is a stress to them. What is swadharma basically is something what I do is something which is appealing to me, like I like to do it, is very, it comes very naturally to me. Say for example, if I want to give my example, I'm not a great cook. Okay. I don't like cooking, but I don't have a choice. So what do? I convert it into a Karma Yoga Baba. That means I do it without giving my best to the work what I am supposed to do without compromising on the quality, and do it with the bhava that it is my duty to do. Okay. But it is not my swadharma. If it were to be my swadharma, what happens is I enjoy what I am doing. So we have such a nice principle. Either if you are in your swadharma, you will not be stressed. If it is not your swadharma, but still you have to do, means adopt the bhava of yagna bhava itself, or the bhava of doing it with karma yoga.
We have an observation from Dr. Shashikant. He says, and I quote, Madam, good that you included COVID and the Indian generosity example. Our culture teaches holistic approach, unquote.
Okay. There are many examples like this. Like, the Kumbh Mela also is the best example. Such a large scale event has happened with the conglomeration of many people joining hands, and the event that has happened, if we want to, if we have to imagine it happening somewhere else, it would be so difficult. Here, so many people do it with the different attitude, and if we are able to bring in that attitude, there the attitude is doing it for god or religious event. But if I convert that into organizational goals and greater good of the organization, naturally the same bhava can be translated into organization as well.
Another question we have, how to understand the dharma of a student, a faculty, and a researcher in the field of competitive short mode of schedule. How to understand the dharma of a student, faculty, and a researcher.
So I presume the person who is asking this question is a student, a researcher, and a faculty. All the three roles, if they are playing, then only this conflicting thing would come. So whenever we see, I am also a whatever assuming the question to be from that angle. I am also a researcher. I am um, a mentor, and also. What can I say? Yeah, I am also playing three roles. And what is my dharma? How I have understood this is whenever I have to do a dharma of a researcher, I will forget the other two aspects and focus only on being a researcher and giving my best to the research work. And when I'm doing the role of a say a mentor, when I go to CESS, I do purely what is needed to be done at that point of time, forgetting that I'm a student of a research, which means whatever is needed at that point of time where my work is or same place. Many a times we have this somewhere. Your head, heart, and hand should align. Then only you will not have this conflict of what is my dharma. Dharma and having this confusion, what is my dharma, is comes only when you don't know what actually you are supposed to do, where and when. So this clarity, if one gets, no, maybe this conflict will not be there. If I am at workplace, uh, I should not be too much engrossed about my personal things. When I am at personal space, I should not bring in too much of my workplace. When this does not happen, no, then you will be able to understand your dharma well.
Yeah, the questioner has clarified. The questioner has clarified that he is a faculty and a researcher both.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, another question is, how do you deal with a situation when one doesn't work and only wants to take credit? How to deal with this kind of a situation using Yajna Bhava? No work and only wants to take credit.
Yeah, this is what I said. Yeah, when people don't, what I have understood is you are supposed to do what you are supposed to do. In a team, if every individual starts focusing on, so if you are a part of a team and you are given a task and you do what you are supposed to do, and wait for the instructions. So because if the leader is there, it is the responsibility of the leader to ensure the entire team contributes. Suppose if you are just a team member, your role will be just to give your best and wait for the instruction. And if your leader expects you to contribute, then you have to contribute, and you have to contribute with the awareness that I am doing it for the greater good. And definitely I'll tell you this will and another advantage is, suppose if you might also have a counter question. See, if I keep doing everybody's work, others will get the benefit and I will end up doing. But what I'm trying to tell is, we should know when to say no. At the same time, if it is a new work, and if you have already finished your work, and you have got to do someone else's work, and if that work is something new and it gives you an opportunity to learn, why not take it? That will give you an advantage of getting to acquire another skill. That is one thing. Suppose if you feel that you can't do that work, you can say that I can't do this work, I'm not able to do. That is not your botheration of what if someone else doesn't. Suppose if you are a leader, then it is your responsibility to motivate and identify the skills and make people work.
Yes. So we have a question from Dr. Shushmita who wants to talk and address you directly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Shushmita.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question. Suppose, if we are working with a team
Hmm.
and if my team member is senior to me and, I am just under her learning certain things for the first time, but I do have some ideas to communicate while I learn these, work. But my superior is not able to, take that. So how will I be able to convince them?
Again, see, you are already approaching it with the bhava that I want to convince her. So first of all, you should your approach should be such that you can share your view. Your objective should not be going with the mindset of convincing her. Your objective should be going with the mindset that I want to share something which I know. If you feel, and another thing is, suppose if you feel that the project is going to suffer because if the other person doesn't listen, and you have a better idea for implementation, and whatever your senior is telling may not be a good idea, and then taking it one level higher is also a good option. But it all depends on how you are approaching it, and don't go with the mindset of I want to convince her. That I, whatever, when we do any task, no, if that takes over, then this challenge will come up. Like, you are already going with the mindset that I want her to understand, I want her to accept. You rather go with the mindset that I have got to know something, I want to share, and let us see if it is feasible. What do you say, sir, or what do you say, ma'am? The attitude with which we go and put it across is very important. And it shouldn't be an artificial bhava also, Sushmita. Like, it should come naturally. When you go with a genuine when you go with genuinity, naturally there will be an acceptance from the other end. So it all depends on how we present our idea to someone else. Either it is with the power of insistence or superiority, or with the humility. So there
Uh,
is a thin line of
Ma'am,
difference.
I understand that, ma'am, but what if the teammate is very dominating?
What if the teammate is dominating? As long as you are able to give your part of work without getting affected, and if it is becoming a problem to the entire team, then you can escalate it to the next level. As long as it is not so, then what you can do is, it can be, you should ensure that the team goal doesn't suffer end of the day. What needs to be done for achieving the goal of the team should be the highest priority. That is, organizational goal should be the highest priority.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Soumya Deep. He says, companies today are driven by KPIs, individual performance metrics, and have lots of competition. In such an environment, how can Yajna Bhava be integrated without compromising organizational goals?
Yeah, organizing. That's why I said the slide 18, which talked about this competition versus cooperation, and the slide how do we implement this reorientation has to happen at the organizational level. And again, when I'll just share my experience of presenting this paper. This paper got recently accepted by a international journal called Team Performance Management Journal. And when I sent them the first draft of the paper, first thing they asked me was, in my first review, they said, send us the case illustrations of Yajna Bhava in action. Otherwise, it looks very no, hypothetical. How do we implement it? So that is where we got these examples. It has been possible in many organizations, and when it has been possible in exercises or projects like Chandrayaan, why not orientation that is needed? And I think yesterday Ashish ji spoke very well on a nice orientation as to how we have to reorient the business organizations. Definitely, now it is competitive driven. Now it should move from competitive driven to cooperative mindset. Then this is definitely, you can see the benefits of this.
We have another question from Mr. KVS Iyer who wants to ask you directly. Please go ahead, Mr. Iyer.
Oscar, a wonderful lecture, very nice with reference to Bhagavad Gita. Now, I am only referring to a last question asked. If the team leader is not competent and members are more competent for a work, then what happens? It is something that happens. Now, a book I read, Client for Life, a wonderful book, respond to this question. He says, at every stage of life, as the speaker was referring to, with a Yajna Bhava, at the expense of the self, will execute his job. But then what happens if he is principle oriented? Many times he lose the game in career growth. So it's not worry about that one. Do Yajna Bhava, do work as per the prescriptions laid down in the organization, what he is supposed to do. Now the client for life, he got an example. This chancellor of the England those days, the king took over the charges of churches, which is not, he is not empowered to do that. The chancellor did not agree for that, and he divorced his wife because he was not bearing a child. He married another girl, and in the incarnation ceremony, this chancellor did not participate, and he was killed to death. That is the expectations of the self. You stick to your principles. Now, if you want to growth, professional growth, then career growth, possibly you may have to sacrifice. If you want to career growth, then you may have to sacrifice the principles. It happens. Balancing both, it is possible, but it's not impossible, but never happens. Thank you.
Yeah. You had a point to share with us, or it was you had a question and I didn't get.
No, actually, I was prompted to share this information
Okay.
with respect to a book I read, Client for Life. I mean,
Okay.
we should be at the expense of ourselves, execute our job as required to be done by us.
Yes, yes.
No deviation from the prescription. I'm coming to. In
Yeah.
that case, when you go principled, possibly a team leader, it happens. It is not necessary all are more competent in all areas of life. His team leader should be able to organize and strength of everybody put together and forward. Thank you.
All right, we have another question from
Yeah.
Dr. Prakash. He says, can we experiment with dharma-linked incentives?
Yeah, actually, I had a point in the end, like, recognize individual integrity and all these things. Because all these, when we say individual integrity, how integrated a person is, it's nothing but it talks about his consciousness towards dharma. So, again, it's all whatever we have experienced so far in the corporate world is all Western dominated. Only in the coming future, if we are able to implement these things, maybe we will be able to see some impact and we will be able to do better. We will be able to get better, we'll be able to compare how it was in the when we were having a different approach and how it will be if we follow this approach. It's just an experimenting stage. All these are theories which are coming up now. Maybe we have to give the time to explore and find out how it will have its impact.
We have two questions of a similar nature. It says,
Yeah.
how far does the Yajna Bhava model fit with a modern corporate, as everybody is becoming self-centered today? And how practical is it for everyone to work with Yajna Bhava?
Yeah, as I said, it is not impossible. And what has been practiced decades ago or many years, thousands of years ago in the form of Yagna demonstrating it, it is not impossible. Only thing is, because of the influence of the West, we moved from what we were to what they wanted us to be. So our whole orientation of thinking, everything has changed. So if you look at any of our ancient scripture, it basically focuses on how to handle our mind. And mind is one thing which, if we are able to control our mind and have our mind, um, you know if we are able to tune our mind to a frequency to which we want to work, then it is definitely possible. And this has been the ancient wisdom which we have had for, which we are working now to revive. So I think it should be possible. It is just a matter of time, provided the situations continue and we get the same environment and support like how we are getting for Indian knowledge system today.
Okay, I think with that, we are at the end of the session today. Uh, I, on behalf of CESS and ICFI, wholeheartedly thank Suma ma'am for her wonderful expositions. And as it was pointed out earlier, the most interesting part was the live case examples of Yajna Bhava in action that ma'am brought to the discussion. I thank all the participants for involving in such a wonderful Q&A question answer session. Once again, I thank all of you and wish you a very happy and prosperous Navaratri season. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.